Hi, my project this week is a custom order from one of my biggest fans to another one of my biggest fans, his wife. Hi, it's early Christmas morning and I have not yet started editing this video, but I wanted to let you know that there are 141 separate videos that I'm going to combine to make this video for you. All right. It'll be out on Monday. We'll see you then. So, out of these 7 thick pieces of exotic wood, the customer chose Kumaro, Purple Heart, and Wenge. So those would be the 3 woods in this custom spoon rest. And there's a surprise to come. I'd like to thank you for watching this video today. I hope you enjoy it. So after we cut the pieces for length on the radial arm saw, it's time to cut them for thickness on the bandsaw. And then we'll cut for width on the bandsaw. Let me know in the comments if you approve or disapprove of the video of the moving from the camera from one spot to another spot. Thank you. So let me know in the comments, do you like this where it assembles itself without any hands? I've been told that people like the time lapse. What do you think? I chose the benchtop sander as the safest option for being able to flatten these pieces. For some reason, that didn't work. Let's try hooking some squares together. This shot is shown out of sequence because there's already fence attached to the benchtop sander. Whoops! It'll work for sure if I add a fence. So this is what disappointment looks like. As you can see, I am completely incapable of putting the same amount of pressure along this piece while I'm holding it against there. So, we tried this. Looks pretty square, you know. Got a thing over there that's square. Let's see. There, that thing over there is square. But it's not working, so we have to adapt. Now I'm gonna make a jig out of this piece of yellow poplar. I'm gonna flatten this surface and I'm gonna take out of there enough to hold this like that, and then this side 90 degrees to this side up against our guide. Should be able to flatten them and hold them completely still at the same time. That's the goal. Here we go. I'm fortunate to have another room where I can keep my benchtop tools and extra wood and supplies in. What I'm doing here is I'm going to take my 3/4 inch bit out of my one router and put it into my trim router. This package of setup blocks was given to me by my grandson years ago, and I use them almost every day. Thank you, Joey. I'm moving the fence in because I don't want the drive wheel to be part of this sanding area. Okay, so we've got this blank pretty much squared up. This cutout that I made earlier is not straight. Okay, so I would never take a bite this big with a 3/4 inch bit, but because a lot of this is missing, we're going to put it firmly against here and ease it in nice and slow, and then we'll adjust our fence back until we get the width that we're looking for. Okay, give me a minute. Here we go. Each turn of the adjustment wheel is 50 thousandths of an inch. Okay, so we have a fresh batch of blocks. Replace these sketchy ones. Yay! The next thing to do is to take this piece, which you can see has a significant cup in it. We're going to run that across the jointer. Then we're going to do this end square to it, and then this end square to that, and we should be all set. Here we go. My thought process here is still, if I can hold the piece in one position, I'll be able to flatten it. Okay, so that appears to be the problem. It's almost flat, but it's sanded. We're getting a rise in it here somewhere. Let's see what we got. The struggle is real. Get your head out of the way, man. That's not flat either. Let's shine some light under it. We may have to do something completely different. Now that's on the metal on both sides, and look, it's in the middle, it's not touching. So what I thought was flat is not flat. In order to flatten these another way, I'm going to need to hold them safely without me being in any danger. Got to soften the ouchy bits. Okay, the safety rules for this Craftsman planer clearly state never joint or plane a workpiece that is shorter than 10 inches. These right here are what, 6? Maybe 6 1/4. And it should never be less than a 1/2 inch thick. Right here we have 0.57. I don't know if you can see that. All right, but I think with this tool I made that I can exert the proper amount of pressure down on it. I'm set right at 0 right now. You can see I can take that right across there. So I'm going to take the smallest bite possible and then just lightly dress each side of each one of those. Okay, let me get my gear on. Once I figured out that the pressure had to be exerted downward and not against the fence at all, things got a lot smoother. Now I'm making a form to hold them in place while I put pressure on them to clamp them successfully. A lot of this footage is not actual time lapse, but shown at 1,000 times the speed that it was recorded. And to take it out of the mold/clamp, a quick trace, back to the bandsaw. The bandsaw table is now tilted. Time to dig out the inside. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. You specifically, you, the person watching right now. The best way you can support my channel is to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And we'll have a good time together making art out of wood. Thanks. Time for some sanding. Okay, here's where we are. The bottom of this is not quite flat, and it needs to be flat because we're doing an inlay in the bottom, in here. So what we're going to do, we're going to use this information right here, which says 1 3/4 inches to the center of the chuck. Now that applies to this trim router. So what we're going to do is flatten this using a 3/8 bit, and then I'm going to use a 1/8 inch bit, and I'm going to cut a K out of the bottom of that. I'm going to do that by putting a K on here and then measuring 1 inch and 11/16 out from the K to put a fence, and that'll allow me to go the distance I want in a straight line. And then we're going to cut this piece of scrap bird's eye maple from the honey spoon, and we're going to inlay it into there in the shape of a K. Alright, so first of all, we're going to determine what size hole we can make in this. You see, because this has the option to get very tippy very quickly. I can't flatten it and maintain straight up and down. But if I cut a hole in this, then I can have more of that surface to flatten with, and we'll use the same template for the K. So here we go. I'm pretty confident in my measuring abilities. I've been doing it my whole life. There's no way I'd be able to hold this in my hand, so I'm going to have to stick it down to the table. a little wedge under the tail. Let's cut out that circle. It's a lot cleaner than a jigsaw. Maybe I should change the channel name to That's Pretty Sketchy. So, I've got this extended out more than it should be. Should be down in there more. And I'm all the way up against the stop. And I'm barely gonna touch the bottom of this. And I have to go even deeper when I cut out for the inlay. So, here we go. I think that's the surface we need to put the K in, and then we'll blend everything else. Probably did a lot of sanding I didn't have to do. All right, time to move on. Let's put a fence on here, change the bit, set the depth. We're going for very thin veneer. Okay, here's an issue. These are different lengths. So I already had this one extended out more than it should have. And if I need to match that plus the depth of the inlay, I'm not gonna have much of that held in the chuck. But you know what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna try it. Okay, first things first. That's not held on there by much. I have to see if it's gonna come flying out of there. I don't want it to hit the camera, so I'm gonna do this. Okay, now our depth of cut is only going to be about a 32nd of an inch, so we're not going to put much torque on this. I think we had success. It's going to be a very shallow inlay, but I think we've got it. Time to move on. Where's the next one? I don't know how much there is. Oh yeah, there's plenty to clamp on there. Well, that, my friends, was a failure. Screwed it up. Time for a major design change. I'm going to shorten the height of the bowl so I can get in there closer. Okay, I'm not sure how much of this you can see, but this K, the part that goes this way, I went too far that way. Here's our upright, I'm over here. So I took some height off the bowl itself, the spoon rest, and I repositioned it on the surface of the table here. I drew out that K, and then I made my marks based on where to stop with that bit just touching the ground. So hopefully I won't screw this up again, but here we go. I have a little more confidence in the accuracy of my cut, having tested it on a thin piece where I could actually see the bit touching the model. For a little chisel work, let's clean up those ends, square them off. Final blending, perhaps. Rough size for the inlay pieces. They'll be sanded to size. One side of this piece of 1/2 inch plywood has a piece of 80 grit sandpaper glued to it. The other side has a piece of 120 grit glued to it. I rough cut a lot of extra length to compensate for potential failures here. I use CA glue to hold the inlay in place. Hand sanding took a minute. Time to shape the outside. Uh-oh, nice catch. More hand sanding for a minute. My squeaky chair. My Paula Deen knife that I cut sandpaper with. This finish is not the final finish. The final finish will be polyurethane, which has been allowed to cure before any spoons make contact with the wood. Okay, well, here it is. So this, I'll put it right up here for you. Okay, so this is 8.5 inches long, 1 7/16 inches tall, and about 4 1/8 inches across. Okay, so this is also piece number 101. I don't know if you can see that. For Mrs. K. The K. Thank you so very much for being fans of the show. This was a custom ordered piece, and if you'd like me to make something custom for you, head on over to www.claytonswoodart.com, hit that contact page, and we'll have a conversation about me making something custom just for you. And I want to say, I really appreciate you watching. So have a great day, and we got a brand new year coming. Let's make the most of it. Remember, be nice to each other.